Welcome in, guys. Welcome to King Josiah TV. I am Josiah, your host. And before we get started, guys, today on YouTube, go ahead and hit the subscribe for me. If you're listening audibly on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead and hit that follow button, guys. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Watch giants fall like Goliath. David, I dance. This ain't no tick-tock. God told me that my steps was ordered. Walking in flip-flops. Chris Rock, how they laughed at me.
Recently, Ruslan KD, loads of you guys are probably familiar with him. He's another famous YouTube guy, got a giant Christian YouTube channel, does great things. Love his material. So I got to give him his flowers. But he just recently got into an online argument with John Legend. He does video reviews very similar to what I do. And when he did his review of John Legend, he had a little short out. I think it was on his own Instagram. We're gonna watch it here in a second. And John Legend commented back and went back and forth, which I was surprised. I was surprised he even did it, but I just thought it was a great talking point and some things that we can bring up when people's views on pro-life and abortion, and truly that the position points from each side and how that should really be looked at. So we're going to bring that up here on the screen. We're actually I'm going to play first before I get to the portion of Ruslan's comment back to him. I'm going to play you guys actually first the initial piece where he pretty much what he commented back on. So just a second, guys. So we have context.
My wife, she was well past 15 weeks when she had to have an abortion. Mm-hmm. She was miscarrying and
my gosh, dude.
Shannon Sharp, you know that the pro-life position is about elective abortions. Your baby was tragically dying. Your wife was miscarrying. She needed a surgical procedure called a DNC to take the tragedy of a dead baby inside of her out. This is what they've been doing. The documented technical label of it is some sort of abort. It says abort in the procedure. So they take whatever medical definition of how they got to categorize the paperwork, and they go, see, women need this. But we all know that is not what we're fighting against.
Oh yeah.
We all know that is not who we're saying should be protected.
My wife, she was well past 15 weeks when she had to have.
So guys, that's the initial part, guys. And we're going to pull up here as well the portion where Ruslan actually responds, because in the comments, he went back and forth with Ruslan. John Legend actually commented back and they had a big back and forth, and Ruslan talked about it on his channel. So we're going to pull that up here. We're going to dissect this with Ruslan here in this video. But I just want to talk real quick before we get into that portion. I mean, Ruslan, when he brought this up, I agree with him. Again, I think a lot of people misunderstand the pro-life stance. The pro-life stance is not about medically induced issues. Like, case in point, if the baby dies in the mother's womb, that's not an abortion. That's just what they classify it as. But it's technically, and by paperwork, it's not an abortion. They're extracting a dead fetus or a baby out of a woman. It's not an abortion, and they're trying to lump all these things together, and as well lumping together rape and incest, and we can get on that. That's a whole nother day, another topic. But they lump all these things together and then try to demonize pro-lifers as if we're wrong when they want to do abortions up to 23 and 6 weeks, and then they try to act like, oh, this never happens, but it happens. But we're gonna let Ruslan talk, and we're gonna walk from there.
This is John Legend decides to respond, and let's just go over it. I don't want to insult this man. The pro-life position is that the government should be involved in the most intimate decisions any woman can make. Okay, so out of the rip, we're just starting with a straw man. We're in straw man city.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, oh, dude, I'm really hoping that we can be involved in the most intimate decision a woman can make.
We really care about what's going on.
That's
in
on the
bedroom.
legislation. Yeah.
That's on the legislation. We really want know what's going on in your bedroom.
Live action. That's their
Human.
They always use these poor position points, and it's just funny to me. Like I said, they always try to act like people really care about what goes on in your intimate life. People really care about, no, it's about a life. We don't care what the heck you do in your personal life. We don't care about that. We're talking about innocent lives that are being taken.
Coalition.
Yeah, that's the promise on their website.
Yeah.
Like,
we want to be involved in your intimate decisions.
to be involved with your body at every step of the way.
Yes.
Live action.
Making something illegal means the government has to enforce and adjudicate these intimate decisions and procedures. The government has the power to force someone to carry for 9 months. It has the authority to adjudicate. I like that he's just using this word adjudicate over and over again.
Oh, dude. That's how you know.
It could have been, though. He could have been like, write me a response
with at least one adjudicate.
No, it's not AI. This is really him. The government has the power to adjudicate. It has the authority to adjudicate whether or not a woman meets whatever exceptions are granted by law. So after rape or incest, rather than just having the deletion of the baby, she would also have to prove that this occurred so that she and her doctors don't get arrested. If her doctor thinks she needs a procedure to save her life, they still have to feel super confident that the government will agree with their assessment that the woman is sufficiently on death's door before they try to help her. Okay, so first he goes to the typical like pro-choice speaking point, which is like rape and incest. We weren't talking about rape and incest. We were talking specifically.
That's what I was saying.
His scenario, which was a tragic miscarriage.
That's exactly what I was saying a second ago. That wasn't the point. And the point of any pro-lifer isn't rape and incest. Again, the Ruslan's point here was, again, that majority of people that are getting abortions are not people that are getting abortions pertaining to what John Legend got done with his wife, which was taking out a already dead fetus out of his wife.
It was a very tragic miscarriage, and she was fairly far along. And from I remember about them, they were grieving. Like it was like they were going through it.
What were they grieving?
The loss of a baby.
Oh, it was a baby.
It was a baby.
Okay,
right.
This dude, his co-host is funny. Sometimes he'd be saying something like, dude, did you read these articles before they brought them up? He's like, huh? They lost a what? I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm just my commentary.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that right there, right? The logic falls apart on its own head. For a doctor thinks it needs a procedure to save her life. Okay. It's officially on death's door before they intervene to help her. So this argument is rape and incest. They always go to that, which by the way, USA Today just. Okay. And then the next argument is, well, if she's on the verge of death, which again, there's never a time where a woman needs this. It's usually miscarriage, right? And any situations that are vague written laws, poorly written laws, I think anybody that's a reasonable person would say, no, that's wrong. We need to not do that. That's bad, right? Fix those laws. Does this not make sense to everyone, especially conservatives who don't trust the government in their lives in so many other realms? Well, he's right about that last part. Okay, so let's go through it.
Is he?
I mean, yes, we don't trust the government in other parts of our lives.
Yeah.
Just like you're okay with the government intervening in other parts of your bodily autonomy. You can play that game either way. You understand?
Yeah.
You can say, government, you guys are anti-establishment. I'll say, government, why would you want the government involved in your bedroom? Yeah. And we can go, you guys wanted everybody to take this goofy jab.
Yeah. But as a conservative Christian, I want the government to suppress evil. So if I believe it's
and I'm gonna let him finish his point, but I mean, he hit the nail on the head right here. Again, us as Christians is not trying to have jurisdiction over everybody and tell everybody what they can do, what they can't do, how to live their life. But no, we expect the government that was put in place by God, because all authority is given to and taken away by God. God gives all authority and allows authority in this world to be there. Okay. And so we expect that authority to have some sense of morality and holding back certain things that are evil and straight up not right. Again, killing a person, whatever, at whatever stage that you want to quote it at, is not right.
Then, which is the established conservative pro-life position on. Then it's not the same as, I don't want the government meddling in my gun rights. It's on the level of like, oh, I want a government that suppresses evil, so I want them to not kill my neighbor next door, and I want them not to kill the baby in my wife's belly.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. When voters are presented a choice, even the reddest states like Kansas know the government should stay out of this. I challenge the pro-life side to allow referendum on this issue in all 50 states, and I bet even the deepest red will vote for freedom for woken. I don't know what that means. For women. Okay, cool. Okay, thank you for clarifying. Yeah. So, of course, you know, the internet did what the internet did, and there's a lot of folks, even a doctor in the thread right here. As a doctor, I could tell you that dilation and curettage, which is a procedure done after a miscarriage, is not withheld at all in the case.
This guy completely proves Ruslan's point. And I'm glad that actually somebody that worked in the medical field got involved, because a lot of these people make comments on these pages, on social media outlets, and know nothing medical. They're just spewing out what they're regurgitating, what they heard someone else say on some blog or some news person or somebody that they like of influence that has given out these things to try to prove their point about abortion. And it's completely wrong. And it's scientifically wrong.
Of what's called an incomplete miscarriage, where tragically the baby isn't alive anymore, but there are products left in the uterus. You're creating a straw man and arguing against something we're not even talking about. And if you're so keen on protecting human rights and bodily autonomy, why do you get to make decisions for the baby? This is shut up. Go on. Go back. Who is that?
This guy right here.
Doctor.
And then he threw in his Christian, was like, oh, by the way, God bless.
Doctors, Jesus doctors just doing what they do. That's incredible. Okay. Yeah. So you got doctors correcting him.
Dr. Nishant.
There's a lot.
You got doctors correcting him. Oh, shout out, Nishant. Is that him? Nishant. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for being here. Appreciate you. One time for you. Kind of setting this brother straight. So you got a doctor in there just like casually.
In which, like I said, it says a lot. Like I said, a lot of people, again, they just get on here and they just talk and they just want to rebuttal everybody. They want to have an argument, but their arguments, they try to sound intelligent and they're actually not. So I want to read some small statistics pertaining to abortion and how frequent this is, because people try to act like it's a minuscule thing, like it's not something that's widespread. Pretty much to my point, there's 83,111 clinical provided abortions that took place in the United States, 73 million abortions yearly worldwide. This corresponds to approximately 200 million abortions per day. That's not just a small percentage. That's not just a small 2% or a small 10, 20, 30%. That's a lot of 200,000 babies. That's crazy, guys. But for time's sake, we're going to skip a little bit ahead here in this video.
Develop into what it would naturally become.
Yeah.
If you want to say that the government saying we don't allow this procedure in these states is forcing.
Yeah.
I don't see that. That word force is a very interesting word. It's a very, you have to be very specific word. So I don't see the government saying, hey, you know what? We're not going to allow this. Drunk driving? We're not going to allow it.
The government's forcing me not to drink.
The government's forcing me to drink my beer at home. Are they?
What happened to the good old days where you could just crack a good one on the way home from work?
Are they forcing you? I guess they're.
And this is the part that cracks me up, because a lot of people don't know about these laws and pertaining to when Roe v. Wade was passed and how that kind of was all orchestrated. It allowed the states to individually make that decision. So it puts more of the decision in your hand. The government's not forcing anything on you. The government's not, and to be wanted to say that you want to have the right to be able to kill somebody, like it's your God-given right to do that. It's not. These are live souls. These are live people that, again, as Ruslan said, are going to develop into people. We're going to get back to that video here in a second, but I wanted to show you guys something pertaining to that law, because I feel like a lot of people are undereducated on this pertaining to Roe v. Wade and how that was actually set up. Oh, guys, we have right here. It says, when Roe v. Wade fell, abortion laws by state. In June of 2022, the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, opening the door for states to ban abortion outright. Currently, abortion is legal in 13 states. There's plenty of places if you want to get an abortion, if you want to go about and do this, there's 13 states. So miss me with acting like it's like you can't do it anywhere. And there's places outside of the United States you could do it as well. Again, it puts it in the hand of the people. After Roe v. Wade fell, abortion laws by state examines laws, constitution, and the court decisions on abortion and assigns each state, territory, and district of Columbia to one of the 5 categories: expanded access, protected, not protected, hostile, and illegal. Click through the tools and blah, 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 and it tells you so you can see which state allows you to, do this. So I just want to read this part here. We're going to read the bans portion. Understanding abortion bans. Pre-Roe v. Wade. Most states repealed abortion bans are affected as of 1973. Once Roe v. Wade made them unenforceable, some states and territories never repealed their Roe v. Wade abortion bans. That the Supreme Court has overturned Roe v. Wade, and these states could try and revive these bans. Second here, abortion bans passed since Roe v. Wade was decided that they are intended to be a ban of abortion entirely of the Supreme Court, are limited or overturned Roe v. Wade, or if the federal Constitution amended the prohibition of abortion. So, guys, that's just giving you some information. I really implore and encourage you guys to look this stuff up. To don't just go off these people trying to get online and trying to say, oh, they stripped all your rights away, you can never do this. No, if you really want this, if you want this to be a thing, if you don't want the government to have control over your life, then get out and vote. Get out and vote in your state so they allow you to be able to do this. If this is something you want to do. Now, I wouldn't encourage you, and I don't think it's a good thing. But if that's something that you want to do, get out and vote.
They're technically forcing you to put on a seatbelt.
I guess so.
They're technically forcing you not to hurt another person.
Biden's like pulling the seatbelt over and clicking it in.
I dare them force me, right? But we did force people to take a vaccine just a couple years ago. You were in favor of that.
They don't talk about that. People talk my body, my choice, but everybody was talking about you have to get a vaccine and then demonizing them if they didn't want to go get the jab.
Mr. John Legend, you were in favor of that. And there was, frontline workers who had already had it that almost lost their jobs. Some of them did lose their jobs.
Jobs and
who had natural immunity. So this is where, this is their double standards are crazy. Like it's kind of hypocritical. Okay. It's okay. You and I will never agree that the woman's right supersedes that of a fetus who wouldn't be viable outside of women. Now, you notice he uses the word fetus.
Ugh.
What is the definition of fetus?
Fetus is like the Latin term for baby.
He's right. 100%.
John, you're so close.
So close yet so
You're
far.
so close. You're so far. Just call it a baby.
Like,
And that sentence reads crazy.
They try to use everything.
Crazy.
They try to use everything to try to dehumanize what a fetus is. Guys, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information here because I feel like Ruslan, they talk about it, they didn't really go into detail. Scientifically, what a human is it's a human development. It begins at fertilization when the sperm fuses with the within a code. I might have said that wrong. It's OCYTE to form a single cell zygote. Explains in the textbook Development of Human Clinical Orientation, Embryology. This is the highest specialized topotent, I might have said the wrong, cell marks in the beginning of each of us as a unique individual. The development of a human being begins with fertilization. When it's a fetus, that's a fertilized egg. So everything, again, as we said before, as I just read before, makes it a unique human being at the fertilization point. Notes Langman's medical embryology, a process by which the spermazone, from the male and the OCYTE from the female unite to give a rise of a new organism, a zygote. So guys, there's just so much there that, again, people just try to find any reason that's unscientific to try to scientifically prove a point that scientifically it's disproven.
If you just actually
You'll
read
never
it in the
agree
definition.
that a woman's rights supersede that of a baby who wouldn't be viable outside her womb. It's like, wait a second. Women's rights. Do you mean her ability to go back to her fluorescent?
Again, they discount one life for another. That's not right. And it's just like when you further hear their arguments, it just gets worse and worse and worse.
Cubicle sitting
Right.
desk job.
Right. Hurry on back and add to the GDP, woman.
Yeah. You mean her right to go back to the job she complains, that same very job she complains of every week to her girlfriends when she's getting mimosas?
Oh man.
Her right. Come on, man.
Okay. And I get that. Now, this is where I appreciated him. This is to give him some props. Shout out to John Legend. And I get that if you believe they have equal or more rights than that woman, then you land where you are.
Okay, cool.
He's right.
We agree.
I simply don't believe that.
Oh, we don't.
And don't believe the government should force that belief on the public against their will. So remember what he said. He said, if you believe that an unborn baby has the same rights as a woman, then I understand how you come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
So the question really comes down to in this conversation, it's not a super deep conversation. What is that? What is that? What is that inside of there?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
And to Ruslan's point, again, I don't believe it's something to do with, again, the science. It has something to do with the breakdown of, like you said, it's not a deep conversation. And again, I believe that at the end of the day, it's what you see that as. And as a believer, you believe every soul, everything is important to God. Just like it reads in Jeremiah 1:5, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. God knows who we were before we were formed. And so to have these conversations with people that don't have that viewpoint, again, their eyes have been blinded by the God of this world, which again speaks to 2 Corinthians 4:3-5. But if the gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. In their case, the God of this age has blinded their minds and of the unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of the glory of Jesus Christ, who is in the image of God. For we are not proclaiming ourselves, but Jesus Christ as Lord, and ourselves as servants to Jesus' sake. So you guys, when you try to talk to people like this, I always encourage people to have the conversation, have the dialogue. If they're open to have it, you can sometimes break through and get these people to open their horizon on really the moral value behind a life and how precious and how important it is. And just like, and I think that, John Legend, I wouldn't disagree with him there. They just have different moral views, and we just have different moral views than other people, which is okay. But again, it doesn't necessarily justify the other point pertaining to, again, saying that it's okay. And wrap the show up there. I appreciate you guys sticking along with me today on today's live broadcast, guys. Again, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead and give me that follow button, guys. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and smash the like button for me, guys. I'm going to go and get out of here, guys. And thank you again. And I will see you next week.
But my salvation on me like it's a helmet. The way you to sin is death for send you to hell quick. Wanted to be all about me, God, I was selfish. I was rebellious.